Happy Thursday, September 7th. I can't believe it's Thursday already. It feels like the week just started. Tomorrow's Friday. We're almost there. We're almost home, folks. It's pretty exciting. It's a great thing about a 3-day weekend. We've talked about that at length, much more length than you would imagine one could, but we did. So anyway, it's a good day, and we will find out shortly what Doug's up to if he's got Thirsty Thursday plans. Lots to get into today. Some good articles, including the Whole 30, the plant-based Whole 30 recap from Tanya over at Veg News. All right, Doug's been at it. Doug, how's it going?
Hey, Matt. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Happy almost weekend.
That's right. I got our song. It's not Friday. It's Friday for us. It's Friday for this show because this is our last show of the week, and it's Friday because Thursday is the new Friday in a lot of people's opinion. I've been beating that drum for a while. We should have at the beginning of the summer schedule when Thursday became our last day. We should have asked the audience, someone to make us a Lersday edit of that song.
A Thursday song. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe
Why did we
change
not do
all
that?
the words. I don't know. They could have resung or at least written all new words for the morning show. We could have sung it on the air, but we didn't do that. Next summer maybe. Or if we stick with this schedule and have no Fridays.
Maybe so. Matt.
Yes.
What did you say at the beginning? Oh man, I had a funny joke. But
I was talking about the short week.
We almost made it something. I don't know. Do you have any weekend plans? Do you have any fun weekend plans?
No, not really. We have a few soccer games. I mean, that's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing out of the ordinary that I could think of. My daughter has basketball in the morning on Saturday. That would be a first. She's done basketball camp before, but never like a game or anything. So I think this is actually a game. The league is games. I'm not sure if this first day is, but I think it is. I think they quickly pick teams, practice, and then play a game. So that will be an interesting game because she's like I said, she's done a camp, and I don't know. Who knows how the other kids will be? We'll see.
Well, that's fun. That sounds great.
Yeah. What about you? What are you doing? Some sort of lake thing?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Oh, no? Actually, yes, I am. Yep.
Oh, yeah?
I am. If it's not raining on Sunday, then we're going out to a summer camp, Camp Rockmont, to have like a little summer camp party with a bunch of friends and things.
Right.
So
good.
Play in the lake. They have one of those blob things, giant water slide.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Just all your typical summer camp activities, canoes and things like that. So it'll be fun.
All right. Well, I keep checking the brain-eating virus stats, and the death toll I think is up to 6, which is not funny at all, Doug. 6 for the year, I think, on the East Coast. So just I guess you can't be cautious. You're just going for it. Understand the risks, I guess I should say.
Yeah, you gotta live your life. Can't be
relatively low risk activity. This is not actually a concern to me, that number, compared to something like road biking.
I mean, I think that the brain eating amoebas, what are they?
I think that sounds right. Don't
know. Are found in still water, right? Isn't that like ponds and things like that?
I actually don't know. I saw something about brackish water that is.
What's brackish water?
Which was surprising, where it's like a mix of salt and fresh.
Oh, okay.
So it's like near the ocean, and I was very surprised with that. I would think it's stagnant.
Yeah.
So what are you getting in that's not still water?
Well, I mean, it's a lake, but it has water coming in and water going out. And like water flows through those lakes.
Okay, that's is that the difference between a lake and a pond?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's probably some sort of spring source for a pond or something like that. But yeah, a pond would typically have not much.
Right. I didn't know that. I thought ponds were small and lakes were big, and that was the difference. Never occurred to me that lakes have rivers coming in and out of them. But I guess lake person.
I mean, most lakes in North Carolina are man-made dams. So if you put a dam up for either power or some other reason, right, to help regulate, stabilize the river, and then you got river water flowing in, and then you have a dam that flows out. That's how lakes work.
Okay, good. Here we go. Lake talk. Like this.
Good old lake talk. Yeah,
All right, people are streaming in here.
And promptly streaming out. I think
that was a joke. It was streaming, right? Like a water source. Trickling in. All right, Kelly K, Carmen Petty, Mr. Jeffrey, Scott Mulholland, Phyllis Hauser, Jeff Hudnall, all here. Jeff Hudnall wore my Around the Crown shirt. Thought of you when I put this on today. I don't understand why it says For the Crown, but it does say that. It's probably backwards, mirrored in the picture. Never understood that. I wonder if it was a mistake by the artist, honestly, that made it say For the Crown instead of Around the Crown. People use the phrase for different stuff. They hashtag For the Crown, but the race is Around the Crown.
Wait, the race shirt has the wrong name on it?
Well, it says For the Crown, and the race name is Around the Crown because you were running around the skyline, which has some crown jewel looking buildings.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe they just put the hashtag.
Mr. Jeffrey wants to know, Matt, he says, Matt, be honest, how much time do you spend looking up things in the world that could kill you? You know, it's what was it? Malaria? What was the last thing?
Yeah, malaria was a little bit of a scare this summer.
Yeah. And you were always up to date on the stats, which means you're like checking that stuff fairly regularly.
I don't know. I really don't. I think I just see it in the research for the show, and I think Morning Brew tends to put it. There's a book out actually that by Darren O'Lean. You know that guy? I think he was on Rich Roll at some point. He put out a book called Fatal Conveniences. And I actually bought it for my mom for Mother's Day this past year. It's just a list of like 50 things that'll kill you that you didn't know about. Like something about the bubbly waters. I don't know what it was, but maybe the natural flavors.
Oh yeah.
And everything else. I mean, I don't have any examples, but maybe I do. Plastics, different things that you don't even know dental floss. You don't know that are bad, but they are. So anyway, if one wanted to read that, I'd say that person is searching for things that could kill you.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast. Oh man, I wish I could think of the name of it. It's a really popular one. I'm afraid if I look it up on my phone, then it's going to Anyway, it's going to come to me in just a second. But
the NPR podcast.
No, it was talking about storm chasers, people who like Twister style chase after tornadoes, that type of thing. And they were in Oklahoma speaking to someone who had just had their house destroyed by a tornado. And they were like, do you ever consider moving away from tornadoes? And they're like, no, why would I? If I go down south, it's going to be hurricanes. If I go out to California, it's going to be earthquakes. If I go to Texas, it's going to be snakes. There's just stuff that kills you everywhere, and you just kind of learn to live with it.
Right.
And, I think that's a good outlook on life.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, my neighbor, next door neighbor told us the other day he found a copperhead under his little storm gutter. Those green things that sit underneath of the rain gutter that I guess they sort of spread it out around the lawn. Yeah, and then he picked up another one. There was another snake under that one. So now
another copperhead or just another snake?
Just another snake. He didn't know what kind, so he killed it, which is unfortunate. But I'm scared every time we go out to the back porch now to sit down in the deck furniture that there's going to be stuff hiding in there. That's a real concern of mine. So especially with the kids, because they're not going to check. They're just going to go sit and do whatever.
I mean, come on.
It's a copperhead. It could be an emergency if you get bit by that thing.
I would love some data on how many people in your county have been bitten by a copperhead.
Well, probably not many bites, but I saw someone else on Facebook said that in their deck furniture there was stuff. And there were snakes.
Armchair expert.
Armchair expert. Okay.
Experts. I'm not sure. That was the podcast. Good one. I just started listening to it. It's been around for a long time, I think, but I just recently started listening to it. Yesterday, in fact. Yesterday and today.
All right. Scott Mulholland points out that Darren O'Lean has a podcast too. Yes, he does, and every now and then he does the Fatal Inconvenience segment for 15 minutes. So that's probably better than the book. We didn't yet talk about NFL tonight. Kicks off last fall. Yeah. We were all into it. We were all into the Amazon Thursday Night Football. For some reason, we were watching that, and it was okay. I just every NFL season I get a little bit hyped that I'm going to start watching it, and then I try and I make it about halfway through the second quarter, and then I'm just done. I'm bored and it's too late, and there's no reason for me to keep watching. So then I stop. I need a team that I live near to be good. I need the Panthers to be good.
Yeah,
they're probably not going to be, but they have a good new quarterback.
You been to a Panthers game?
No, I haven't yet. That's kind of on my list to do. Yeah,
I wonder what the concessions are like. I have been.
They're probably the same as Charlotte FC's concessions.
Oh yeah,
good point. Yeah, and there's not too much vegan.
All right, so I see a note here about Justin Fields, our favorite quarterback.
Yes, and I have.
But it's disappointing to me. What's going on?
It is disappointing. I have media here. I'm gonna play my multimedia here. Ready?
Mm-hmm. We can't hear. Oh, maybe. Hold on.
Wait, are you able to hear this?
No.
No, it's going through my headphones. Of course not. Hang on, let me unplug my headphones. Hang on. We don't do media too often. No. Okay, now I got to cue it up again. So just bear with me. Okay, you'll hear a little extra now because it's not. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah, we do. Everybody wants to know. The people want to know, Justin. How's the vegan life?
I'm off of the vegan life. I'm pescetarian now, so.
For real?
Yeah, pescatarian.
Breaking news. So you're eating fish?
I eat fish every now and then. It's just too hard going out to steakhouses and stuff like
For real, right?
Finding vegan options every time. So, I'm pescatarian now, and it's been good though. Been good.
So I asked how the vegan life was, and DJ.
All right. And then they go on to ask his teammate, who apparently made a face when he asked about the vegan life. And then they talk about hot dogs. There's a new name for hot dogs that I've never heard before. I'll tell you in a second when they say it, but because I'm playing it in my headphones. Anyway, so that's the news. Not great.
Not great.
No.
And his reason was just that it was too hard.
Yeah, that's the thing. By the way, hot dogs, Whizzies is the name of hot dogs now. That's the slang.
Whizzies?
This has been around for a few years.
Huh.
Yeah.
Is he eating Whizzies?
I'm sorry, a glizzy. I was listening to it as a unit. Yeah, a glizzy. I don't know that even. Where could that come from? What does it mean? Anyway, I was thinking maybe like when I first heard he was pescatarian, someone commented that, maybe on our show or something like a month ago and said this. I figured now that he's like established himself as an NFL quarterback, because I think last year was his first year, and he was a star. He helped the Bears season not be like terrible. I thought maybe now suddenly, like, if being an NFL quarterback wasn't enough, maybe now there's like just enough like at stake that he's like, I'm just not going to do anything out there. I'm going to, take fewer chances with my nutrition and just do the proven path and eat a little bit of meat just to cover bases, not miss out on generational wealth as a result of a diet mistake. So that's what I thought. But then this answer, he says it's too hard to go out of steakhouse and not have a vegan thing to pick. So I guess, maybe you do have to go out a lot if you're a player like this. You think like with all the
like when you're traveling, you mean?
Because I don't know. I just thought events and things were like you're expected to go out and do something with whoever, or the team goes. But you would think that they could always make an arrangement for a private chef or whatever to.
The dude's worth a ton of money. Surely they could accommodate him.
Right. You would think so. So I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the real answer or if there's some other one. But it's not like he carefully chose a real answer, because that's a pretty lame one, right? If it's like
totally.
If they were going to carefully choose it, he could say, "Well, I wasn't feeling right about whatever, and then I need to fix it."
Well, and I'd be curious to know if he's eating dairy now and eggs and things like that, or if it's just kind of be adding fish in with a whole food plant-based diet. Otherwise, whole food pplant-based diet.
Yeah, his motivation was health. He watched Forks Over Knives, I think, during COVID. They said when he was home from college, and I don't know. I guess this isn't too surprising. If the focus is health, then to gradually incorporate some meat. Fish. Yeah, like that's not a thing that other people haven't done.
Sure.
But anyway, maybe that will help. Like if the focus was ethics, well, I don't know if it would change it. But anyway, so that's, I don't know, it'd be less interesting to root for him now. But I'll still pay attention. I still hope he does.
Yeah.
So there you go. Do
we have anybody else? Cam Newton, is he still vegan?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think so. I don't even know. Is he still playing?
Cam Newton? Did he get fired?
Yeah. Well, he's definitely changed teams a few times. He was the Panthers quarterback last year, right?
He has been for a while.
Yeah, he still is. He just re-signed, I guess. But they drafted Bryce Young, number 1 pick. So he's, I think, the starter. But it's not going to be a great year, I'm sure. Anyway, there's your football talk. Very informed football talk by us. Anything else, Doug? Are you going to watch this game tonight? It's on NBC, not on Amazon. I think Amazon starts the second week.
No, I'm probably not. Maybe I'll be in a bar for Thirsty Thursday where it'll be on in the background.
Mhm. That'd be fun. I mean, it's good vibes to me seeing football on TV. You think about the fall and maybe drink a pumpkin beer or something.
Definitely.
You get a pumpkin beer tonight?
No, I will not.
No chance of that.
No chance of that.
All right, good. So, what do you have for Thirsty Thursday plans tonight?
Way too hot for a pumpkin beer. I mean, maybe in October.
Not too hot for pumpkin spice latte.
It is. That's why they're all iced now.
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
that's the point.
True.
Yeah.
Are you are going out though? Taco night?
I don't know. We might actually mix it up. We were talking about mixing it up tonight. So,
Okay.
which I'd be in favor of.
All right. Good. All right. Well, let's get to the weather report. It's very short. I omitted, as tempted as I was, the Barcelona airplane that had to turn around due to the diarrhea. Didn't want to go into all that. So we're not talking about that one. We are talking about something else, kind of unrelated to plant-based, but just fun because it's running related. You sent me this one. The news is that organizers of the Mexico Marathon have disqualified 11,000 runners of the 30,000 person race. So more than 1 in 3 DQ'd because their electronic trackers revealed that they had not completed the full course. They had not passed through certain checkpoints. This isn't the first time it's happened. They had to DQ 3,000 people in 2018, then 6,000 in 2017. That was 20% of the field at that point. And they're saying this great event not only represents an outstanding celebration for all the inhabitants of the capital, which is Mexico City, but also an occasion to reaffirm the transcendental values of the sport. So sportsmanship. They're saying you didn't finish, you don't get it. I'm kind of surprised that they did this. Honestly, I thought it was just a money grab, and you just give people their medal. If they just write in a nice letter, you can get a medal and a finish time. I'm surprised they would go to this length because these people will not be angry, I think, and not ever come back.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, but you'd lose your accreditation, right? I mean, you wouldn't be a BQ qualifier or any. I mean, I don't know if they are, but
you just cover it up. You just cover up this data, push it under the rug. No one knows that all those people didn't hit their checkpoints.
I mean, somebody has to know if 11,000 people got on buses.
There were a lot of complaints apparently that prompted the investigation.
Yeah, so I mean, so this it cracks me up. A third of the race of a 30,000 person race, a third of them are DQ'd because they were cheating. Which, I mean, surely there has to have been some issue, right? Like some sort of timing thing doesn't work. There's no way that many people were cheating. But what if they were? Like, what if they were? What if there were that many people who were hopping on the train or buses or getting in taxis and whatever? I mean, it'd be total chaos. Can you imagine running a marathon and being like 13 miles in, just starting to drag, and you just see people left and right going off the course, like flagging down taxis, like how, or you're 23 miles in, about to finish and just like totally defeated and dragging and wanting to walk, and then this fresh person comes running up because they've only run 6 miles of the race. Like, can you imagine?
I mean, okay, so I thought maybe like there was something up like extreme heat or something that just made people say, this is not my day, I'm going to take this bus and just like get to the end, not to fake finishing, but just as my way of bailing out of the race. I'm just going to go. So maybe that sort of thing happened. But it did. Some people are saying the malfunction of the electronic equipment. But the fact that this happened in previous years with 6,000 people in 2017, 20% of the people.
Yeah.
Right. You would think that would have made them change systems or make sure there aren't mistakes. Right. So I'm guessing this is
some people along the course making sure no one's dodging off. I mean,
right. So I have no idea. It doesn't make sense to me because I think, and I don't think this is a cultural thing. I think this is just any marathon in the world. If you go there, you stand at mile 20 with $100 bill and a bike, and you say with a little cart in the back, and you offer everyone who goes by, here's $100 if you just let me drive you to the finish line. You just stop now. No one's going to do it. And I mean, certainly not 20% of people. They're there to run the race, and so like it's not like people want to cheat, right? They're not trying to win. They're not trying to fake that they won.
Right.
So I just don't. Something is wrong here, right? People don't sign up for a race and start running if they planned it or if they'd like to get out of it. It's just not why they're there. So I don't understand it.
I mean, some people do, but certainly not a third of a 30,000 person race, right?
Right.
But what if you like? So there's the herd mentality, right? So what if you are running and you're on like 5.5 hour pace or something? So I mean, you're running, but it's going to be a long day, and you just see everybody kind of cheating, and you're like, well, maybe I should too.
Maybe
like,
this is what a marathon is. It's like everyone.
Like,
Maybe.
I don't know. Do you think that I'm not saying you would do it, but could you see a big group of people just being like, hey, let's just.
If they
Let's
started to
just
get the
right.
sense that actually this is what marathons are about, it's not actually about running. It just is about like making a decent attempt and then giving up, and you still run a marathon. I guess it could happen. It seems possible. I just don't understand. Who would do all that training and all that just to do that? I just don't understand. Maybe they didn't train. Maybe that's it.
Maybe they didn't. It cracks me up. I love it. I love it.
All right, moving on. In Spain, a lot of olive oil was stolen. 500,000 euros worth, 50,000 liters of the precious commodity olive oil. That'd be about $10 per liter. How many liters? I feel like what I usually buy is a 1 liter thing. So at a wholesale value, that's about right. I was wondering if this was like extremely cheap, because I think there's some awful. I mean, it doesn't taste bad to me, but like olive oil, people will say, most of what is produced in the huge producing countries, of which Spain is one, is just bad. It's not good extra virgin olive oil. It's just run of the mill cheap stuff. So I was wondering if they stole a bunch of that and people didn't really care that much. But it sounds like this would be expensive if it was $10 a liter.
Yeah,
I don't really know. So that happened. It's not. I don't know what to say about it. But I just thought it was funny. And finally,
hold on.
All right.
All right. So this is 13,000 gallons. It's 50,000 liters.
Okay.
Which 13,000 divided by a 50-gallon drum. What's that? 13,000 divided by 60. I mean by 50.
By 50.
It's 260 50-gallon barrels, right? Okay. Everybody can kind of picture one of those. This is a lot of olive oil, right? Like they had a bunch of trucks. Like this wasn't somebody who was like, oh, check out that.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is a large amount, because it's not like stealing $500,000 worth of jewels. This takes up a ton of room.
Yeah, I mean they would have had to have many 18-wheelers.
Yeah, that's a good point. How big is? I mean, a beer keg is what, five? Actually, I don't know. I don't know what a beer keg. I have no idea. Like I'm trying to picture a 50-gallon drum of oil.
15 gallons in a beer keg.
Okay, so 3 of those would be one of these.
And there were 260
drums, and there's 200 of those. Yeah, and that takes a lot of heavy lifting and moving.
There's a lot of coordination happening there. But I also kind of thought, and also like you then have to store it, and then you have to sell it for it to be worth anything. So it's just a lot of work going on to make this happen. But it's kind of maybe smart, right? Because like what kind of security would an olive oil place have?
Maybe it was a soft point. They just, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of work. A lot of work for $500,000. Honestly, I mean, there had to be a big team here. They say in a heist worthy of Danny Ocean, so they're referring to Ocean's 11.
Yeah,
I mean, this is how many people in this job you think? 20? 10?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just to move all that. I mean, you would have to have You would have to have like a truck, like not a truck, like a forklift. I mean, you would have to have access to heavy machinery in order to move all this.
Yeah. All right, on to health news. Recent study, multi-institutional study, found that older women who'd maintained a stable body weight after 60 were more likely to reach their 90th birthday. So the way they did this, it's a little confusing, but was they took women who were between 61 and 81 who didn't die within 3 years following the start of the study in case there were pre-existing conditions, and then looked at how many of them reached age 90 or 95, what they called, I think, extreme longevity or something like that. What's not surprising is that those who experienced unintentional weight loss had 51% lower odds of reaching 90. What is surprising to me, and they sort of buried this in the story I read, was that even if they had lost that weight intentionally, they had 17% lower odds of reaching age 90. And then on the other hand, it turned out that gaining, so one might say, well, maybe actually weight is a good thing and you want to have weight, so putting on weight might be good. Turned out if they gained 5% or more, and by the way, those losses were if they had lost 5% or more. If they gained 5% or more, they also did not get any additional longevity. So the importance then would be on maintaining stable weight. So kind of interesting. I mean, there's a few limitations. Obviously, it was an observational study, and that meant, and basically they didn't have enough. Once you look at how many people did actually lose, intentionally lost weight, who were overweight or obese to begin with, you're starting to really limit the size of your sample. And apparently that prevented them from having any statistical significance around like, well, what if someone who's way overweight intentionally loses some weight? Like you'd think that would actually help them live longer. And it's very possible that it would, but they did not have the sample size got too small once they started making all those criteria. So kind of interesting. And the other thing I thought is like, there could be a lot of people who unintentionally lose weight for the exact same reason of the cause of the death, right? Like someone loses weight because they get cancer or some other sickness that puts them in the hospital and they can't move their muscles or anything, or exercise much. Then you lose weight, but you only do so as a byproduct of this thing that's killing you, not related to the weight loss so much. They didn't mention that at all. So I don't know how they controlled for that, or maybe they just didn't. But anyway, maintain a stable weight. That's the upshot. If you're not overweight or obese, and I don't know how much you need to be to make it matter, but they would say you should not try to change your weight too much once you're over 60. All right, that's it. That's your weather report. It is. All right, let's get into what we talked about yesterday. Our friend Tanya Flink over at Veg News wrote this article called "I Tried the Plant-Based Whole 30 Program, and Here's What Happened." I don't have much experience with Whole 30. A bunch of my wife's friends have done it, and she's always mentioned to me that they did it and they do it, but it's not like a vegan thing. So I just assumed it was not something we could do. And I assumed that it had, that it involved meat. You had to eat meat, and that's why. So I'm still not totally clear. I probably should have gotten a little bit more clear than this. But it sounds like they made a plant-based version sometime maybe in 2022. And in that version, they forbid animal products. They forbid meat and dairy. And I don't know if they were forbidden from the original or not. I think they weren't. But they do allow beans, and I think the beans maybe weren't allowed in the original. Does that sound correct or possible?
Yeah, that was my understanding after reading this.
Okay. All right, so they did that, and then Tanya decided to give it a try. It sounds like they asked her, or someone asked her if she would, and she went for it. But she said, "Here's what you," and it's elimination diet. So the idea, and someone who knows more about Whole30, please correct me and let me know the truth here. I think you eliminate everything, and you find out if whatever problems you're experiencing, and they mentioned a lot of them, and not weight loss, by the way. They don't want you to step on a scale this entire time. They want you to pay attention to how you feel and how your joints feel and energy, all these other things, and your mood. But so you eliminate everything, and then you see how you feel at the end of 30 days. And then I think you probably eventually reintroduce things gradually and try to figure out, how do you come back to a diet that's less restrictive, but still gives you these benefits. I actually don't see that part in here, so I'm not sure that that's true. But here's what Tanya had to eliminate. Let's see. Animal products, all grains, including rice, oats, quinoa, wheat, etc. Highly processed forms of soy, which includes oil, TVP, soy flour, soy isolates, etc., which I guess means tofu and tempeh still allowed. All real and artificial sugar, cane sugar, maple syrup, agave, stevia, coconut nectar. I'm pretty sure that's added sugar. I went to their website and was looking up some of the rules. So sugar and fruit, I think, would be okay. All alcohol out, and then carrageenan and added sulfites were the only additives that are banned by this thing. It's not like you have to, exclude all additives. So there you go. She says you're left with tofu and tempeh, nuts and seeds, of course, the rest of the beans, natural plant-based fats, whole forms of plant-based protein powder. I don't really understand what that is.
I was wondering about that too.
Like there used to be popular hemp protein powder, and that's not really anymore because it was so low in protein because it had so much fiber and carbohydrate with it. So because they just pressed the fat out of it and then ground these whole seeds up. So it was, you can call it protein powder, but it's really just sort of ground hemp seeds with the fat removed. So I don't know if that's what she's talking about here, but let's see. And produce, of course, which is fine. Fruits and veggies are good. And I guess so. Like she mentioned that she didn't like some of the stuff because some of the rules because she has her own, issues and things sometimes. And I don't see the exact words, so I don't want to speculate on what she said they were. But they say you have to eliminate, for example, some of her favorite things like vegan sushi because that includes rice and sugar. Peanut sauce includes sugar. Seaweed salad because of sugar. No baking because there's way too many things. And so she thought she knows these things aren't the cause of her problems. Like these don't make things flare up. so she said it was frustrating to like do this thing and know that there's a bunch of stuff you don't have to give up, but if you want to do the thing correctly, then you have to. So she didn't love that about it. Okay, I think that's it. Any more preamble here before we get into her results, Doug? Any questions or anything?
Okay, so I'm comparing the regular Whole30 versus the plant-based Whole30.
Okay.
So plant-based or regular Whole30 says no legumes at all.
Okay.
Right? The exception is green beans and most peas.
Okay.
But no dairy, which can of course have meat. And so that's the regular one. And then the plant-based version is no animal proteins, no animal fats, and it doesn't really say anything about legumes that I'm seeing.
Weird. I mean, weird that they prohibit the animal products from the plant-based version. I guess if you're a plant-based person, you're going to anyway. But
yeah,
it just seems weird that they added to the prohibited foods list. Like, why not say that? Well, you're allowed to have it, you just choose not to.
Well, and the other thing that's kind of interesting is so their yes foods in the plant-based version is eat legumes, lentils, and peas. Why would you eliminate those? Like, what's the benefit of eliminating them for the animal version?
People get gas problems with beans and the phytates or whatever. So I'm sure that's related to GI stuff or whatever, which is not the only reason people do this. There are other things as well, but maybe if it causes that, then it might cause other kind of upset.
Okay.
So
there's anti-nutrients. Right?
Anti-nutrients in beans. Yep, that's right. That's what it is. Okay, so Tanya says suffers from baffling gastrointestinal distress. She's taken all kinds of tests and things and never can figure it out. But the foods that trigger her, potatoes, cauliflower, fermented foods, beans, plus a handful of unidentified culprits, were all not on the elimination list. And the foods that she knows are fine, like rice and natural sweeteners, were forbidden. So that makes it hard. I think that really, from the beginning, I would say, what did I sign up for? If this thing, and I don't know if Whole30 is a good thing. If people generally, it's super popular, so I'm assuming
it is
a lot of
super
people
popular. Yeah,
really like it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm also surprised that they put so much of it free online now. You can just go find the diet and do it without buying the book. I guess the book is now small potatoes for them compared to Whole30 approved food labels and everything else you can now sell around it. So they want people
probably the more people who are doing it, the more more valuable that label is. Yeah,
right. She was also curious about the 30-day time limit because it just seems like an arbitrary marketing thing, really. But I think they set it on 30 because it's long enough for participants to experience benefits, not so long that it's hard to stick with it. So that kind of makes sense. And finally, she gets to how did I feel? Remember, they told you not to look on the scale, right? You don't weigh yourself, and you don't measure anything with body composition or measure parts of your body or anything. You're just looking for these non-scale victories, like improved digestion, fewer GI issues, more energy, less stiff joints, less inflammation, glowing skin, brighter eyes, fewer migraines, less sickness, etc. And then mentally feeling happier, less stress, improved mental health, fewer cravings, tamed sugar dragon, must be a term they use, and overall a healthier relationship with food. So how did Tanya feel? She says basically the same. She experienced as many bad days over the course of the month as she typically does. Digestion did not improve. No changes in outward appearance or general disposition. And no, she did not cheat. So kind of failed, right? It just feels like it just didn't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, like all the things that you would want from a huge shift like this or very restrictive diet didn't seem to happen.
Right.
The things that she said were successful were I fell in love with new vegan brands that had the Whole30 label, right?
Which is not a reason to embark on a 30-day thing, right? So you can find more things to spend money on. I hate new brands, actually, when I go to the store. I do. We buy all these junky new things that are $8 or $9 for a little pack of something because we saw it and looked good. So I don't like new brands.
Yeah. So not a good reason to do this. I saved money, which she doesn't say how much she saved, but she ate more whole foods, which were cheaper.
That happens with our slow food or slow carb diet. I noticed we save a lot of money with that because every meal has beans in it, and so we basically end up not buying these fancy new brands of stuff. We just get beans and occasionally vegan protein, sort of fake meat. So that's a good benefit. Oh yeah, you don't need out.
And then she realized her sugar dragon was more like a lizard.
And that's a real benefit. That's a great one.
Mhm.
The other stuff I think is completely unintended by Whole30 for it to save money, unless maybe they point to that as a benefit, and it could be. Falling in love with new brands, right? That doesn't really, I don't think, matter. But yeah, to realize that with a little bit of discipline, or maybe a lot of discipline, I don't know how it actually was kind of hard to give up some of these things. You can realize that this thing, if you tell yourself you have this sweet tooth and you just kind of go through your life obeying it, and then one time you try something for a few weeks and you realize, hey, I actually, after a little while, it gets tamed and it's not really so bad. That can be life-changing for someone. And that's a pretty big deal. So
Definitely.
I like that one a lot. But yeah, I mean, disappointing. Like if you weren't having problems, like a GI problem or something, and then you embarked on this thing to see what happens, and you find out that there's no real difference, it's kind of a good. It feels like a positive month, because then it's like, well, I can feel good about eating the way I did before, and I know that like there's nothing to be gained, at least as far as all these benefits they mentioned from eating differently.
It could
but
also
if you're trying to
be
solve a problem,
discouraging.
yeah,
You're
and it's
to solve a
frustrating.
problem.
If you're trying to solve a problem, then it's really frustrating to not have an idea, not have gotten any closer to an answer. So that's too bad. And then she mentioned some tips for completing it. I'll just read them one after another. Commit, plan ahead, look away, which means don't look at Instagram or other social media showing pictures. Talk or complain about it, which is an interesting tip. I haven't really heard that before said, but I guess talking keeps you accountable. I was thinking more like complain, meaning get the frustrations out so that at least you're saying it to somebody, which may actually be a good diet tip. I don't know. And then ease out slowly is her final one, which is a good point. That's a long time to go right back to regular eating. So I don't know.
There
this is cool. Yeah.
I quite enjoyed the article. I like her writing a lot.
I did too.
But it did not convince me. And I think that her kind of conclusion is that she's not convinced either that this is something that I would want to put myself through.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, she said she didn't notice any changes in her physical body. But like, I'd really like, I don't know, the things that interest me are what happens to your health metrics and things like that. And they can be indicated by weight. I mean, Tanya looks pretty thin to begin with, so I don't know if her losing weight would indicate anything positive or not, just based on her Veg News picture. I've never seen her in person or anything. But like, I don't know. I mean, that's what I want to know is like, did my metabolic health or something else, or my heart numbers, cholesterol, like, did that stuff dramatically improve? Then I'd be really curious to figure out what it was that was that I could keep incorporating or not incorporating in my diet. So it's odd that they don't have that. I mean, but it's working. So they don't need business advice from me.
Yeah.
Mr. Jeffrey volunteers Bianca as tribute to try it. I like that idea. Yeah, if Bianca's listening, she'll probably get a chuckle out of that. I doubt she'll try it. I don't think she's gonna. I don't know if Bianca. I mean, she eats all those, food truck.
Well, she did. She did the. She just did that big. I forget what it was. Diet that was
slow
related
carb.
to.
It was slow carb, right?
Yeah, slow carb. Yeah.
Yeah, she did that leading up to race, but I don't know. I doubt she'll do this. All right, and then hello to Garuda Legends, who had left a comment on our YouTube video yesterday asking for the link to the survey the study about the plant-based diet saving people money, because he or she or they swear that they spend much more when they have gone vegetarian or vegan. And I linked to the article there. By the way, that article is all over the news today. That thing blew up.
Oh, really?
Not that article, but the study that PCRM or a PCRM person did. It's all over the place. Yeah, it is good. It's a good. I mean, yesterday I said I don't like sometimes that it's hard to know with PCRM if they would have published the result if it wasn't in favor of a plant-based diet. But the fact that they're doing research like that and find these positives and then share it and it gets all over the place, that's fantastic. So that's a great thing.
It's been a while since we had some positive plant-based news, so that's good.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, lots of people picked that one up. And the interesting, we omitted, I think, or neglected to say that was a study on overweight people. And they divided those groups between vegan and omnivore and said, eat this way for a certain amount of time and keep track of your spending. They did that for overweight people, was the whole group. So I don't know if that changes anything about what, I mean, someone who's not overweight might spend money differently than someone who's overweight. and you might get a different result. But most people are overweight, so there you go. Applies to most people. All right. So anyway, Garuda Legends is writing too many things for me to read right now, but I think basically arguing for omnivorous diets. I'm not really sure. So yeah, that's that one. And we got one more today. Is that right, Doug? I think so.
We do.
Yeah, this one I thought was interesting. From NPR. I found it and you didn't send it to me. It just showed up in the.
I know. I couldn't believe it.
You somehow missed an NPR bit. And I never understand these things. They come with 3-minute listens. I don't know if they're articles or audio clips or what. I think you told me they're both, or they're first audio and then they just transcribe it. Anyway.
I have to admit, I did not read it. I listened to it.
Oh, okay. So we don't know if it's the same.
When I saw there was a 3-minute listen, I just listened to it.
Right. Okay. Anyway, what the headline is: prescriptions for fresh fruits and vegetables help boost heart health. And basically what they did was they found people, and oddly, this doesn't, well, they do mention it. The study included nearly 4,000 people in 12 states who struggle to afford healthy food. And so they're not looking at just anyone. But what they did is they went to the clinics in the area, and based on people who had heart problems, I think it was heart problems that they were looking for specifically, or were at risk for heart disease, they basically prescribed them fruits and vegetables. And in doing so, what they did was referred them to this study, area where they would go, and got to sit through a nice little education on nutrition and why these foods would benefit them. And then crucially, were given, coupons or a stipend or whatever to buy these fruits and vegetables. I think an average was $63 per week, perhaps. I'm not having it right in front of me this second. But they did that. So basically the idea is, $63 a month. Yeah, we could have been too much. $63 a month for up to 10 months. And what they found was lots of good, improvements in blood pressure in those who already had hypertension. So that was a great thing. People with uncontrolled diabetes, their A1C levels declined significantly by about 0.6%. I guess that's a lot. I don't know. And then I thought I saw something else, but maybe that's the two big ones. And then the study itself, it's weird to me that this was omitted from the NPR article. Maybe they found it not newsworthy, but I clicked on the study itself, and one of their big conclusions was this big reduction in food insecurity. And it seemed like that was like almost the headlining thing they were looking for. Maybe that's my interpretation and not the truth, but it was just odd that NPR didn't mention that at all. But then I thought about it, I was like, well, of course, obviously you're going to have food insecurity if someone's giving you free food. That would lead to less. I guess that's not quite as obvious as I thought, because I kind of thought food insecurity was just like a nice way of saying can't afford enough food. Or sometimes can't afford enough food, but it actually is I think related to literally feeling insecurity about that fact. Does that seem right? So giving people this money, might not actually change how someone feels about it, even if it gives them some ability to afford a little bit more. But they said actually does do that. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong about that, but that was what I
don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah. I kind of had an understanding that was, I think, more closely aligned to your original one.
Yeah, literally how much you could afford versus how much you needed. Yeah, it seems like it's more like the psychological measure of that is what food insecurity is. But again, I don't know for sure. So yeah, that wasn't reported here, but was in the actual study. But fairly obvious that they would feel less food insecurity if they got free or cheap produce. So I don't know. I think it's a cool thing. It's good to know. I mean, I guess that you can sort of treat this like a prescription where you give people the food and vegetables, and it's as if insurance, I guess it would kind of cover a prescription. In this case, some free money pays for some of this food. So that's a nice thing. But then it's like, what's anybody going to do with this? There's not multi-billion-dollar drug companies involved in selling people fruits and vegetables. So I don't think we're going to see any doctors start prescribing fruits and veggies anytime soon. We'll just keep on prescribing pills.
Yeah. I mean, there might be some incentive from the healthcare company if you're at risk, right? If you can lower people's, improve people's health biomarkers and stuff, then they don't have to pay for all the treatments and that kind of thing. But I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. But I mean, it just maybe it will encourage some funding for greater access to fruits and vegetables or cheaper fruits and vegetables, things like that, to certain high-risk communities. What was interesting in the when I listened to it was that the person, they kind of interviewed someone who had gone through it, and she saw a huge reduction in her in troubling blood work, and it just looked, her cholesterol and everything came out better during this test period. And then when the study ended and she went back to eating the way she had before, everything got worse again. And so there was like a direct correlation, at least from that N of 1, that it worked, that just eating more fruits and vegetables worked.
Yeah. And we kind of already knew that, right? But it did. It's good to see it in a new context. But yeah, I mean, some people just can't get this food, right? Just can't afford it, don't have access to it, whatever. And that's a problem, because it's tempting to say, well, look, it's up to the individual. You just have to eat fruits and vegetables. Like, you got to take control of this in yourself. You can't count on the doctor to fix you. You need to make these upstream changes yourself, because your doctor's not going to put good foods in your mouth. You have to do that. But it's a problem, obviously, when people can't do that, when they don't have the choice to do that. So hopefully that can somehow be fixed. And like you said, a lot of insurance companies, or maybe not a lot, but more than used to, are paying attention to prevention through food. So that's a good force. But who knows, the magnitude of that compared to everything else? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, it's good incentive. Like, if you can somehow give people money that can only be used for fruits and vegetables, yeah, they're probably going to buy those fruits and vegetables, right? I mean, like, why would you not?
Right, for sure.
When
people get food stamps now, can you buy anything with that? Any food stamp, any food you want? I'm obviously you can't get drugs and things like that, or alcohol and tobacco.
There are limitations, but all kinds of processed foods, box foods,
right. Mm-hmm. I saw another thing today. I didn't put it in the show. A USDA thing showing that you could actually assemble a diet that met all the healthy eating guidelines, or 90% of them, with using ultra-processed foods only, almost exclusively. Or maybe it was 90% ultra-processed foods, and it could meet 17 out of 19 guidelines. The only ones that couldn't was sodium level, and I can't remember. One other one that was kind of not enough whole grains. It was hard to get whole grains because the breads and all these things you buy are ultra-processed. So interesting that you can actually put together a thing that checks all the boxes, still being ultra-processed, but in a way that's good, right? You can get the micronutrients and macronutrients from these foods that are really cheap and readily available and convenient. So that's a good thing. What remains to be seen is when someone eats that diet of UPF foods that are checking all the boxes of food guidelines, does the person actually get healthier, or does all the additives and the processing prevent good things from happening with that food and make bad things happen? And there was a study like that called the Swap Meat study on Beyond Meat versus regular meat, and they did show some health improvements, but Beyond Meat was involved in the funding of that, so it's a little hard to trust it. Anyway, so maybe ultra processed food isn't isn't like any diet that contains it has to be bad. It's possible that you could make a good one. We will see. Okay, so Garuda Legends keeps having a conversation here with Mr. Jeffrey a bit, and it seems like common ground has been reached, and that's good. Garuda Legends says actually a nice thing. I think down-to-earth vegans like y'all too are important to Earth. We need a balance and to not hate each other. Yeah. I'm putting that one up on the screen. That's a good one, right? Aside from the fact that it's about us, I totally agree with that. We do need that. We need people to not hate each other. Good. Okay. Then that's it. That's our week. We're done. Off to party.
Mr. Jeffrey says that he's doing a university course on food insecurity this semester, and we're happy to come in and school us when he gets back.
That'd be good.
Or when he's done.
You got to get that university to get a robot that 3D prints and cooks burgers.
There you go.
Plant-based burgers. And report back on that, because I do want to hear about food insecurity and what you learned there. But I also want to know about plant-based burgers made by a robot.
What school was it at?
I think Denver, University of Denver.
I wonder if we can find somebody. Surely somebody in our community.
We get some team members who are like, Tolman lives in Colorado. Aren't there other people in Colorado?
Isabel.
Can anyone just walk into a university dining hall and get food?
I don't know. Maybe. Probably depends on the university. If there's anybody listening here from the University of Denver,
We're
hit us
not
up.
just in the town of Denver. Just go
Just
give
in
it
the
a
town
try
of Denver.
and let us know what happens.
You can get access to that robot.
I was up there.
maybe like stand outside and like, hey kid, can you give me a robot burger?
You could offer to buy someone underage beer and alcohol in exchange for them going and buying you a contraband burger that you're not allowed to get. Perfect swap of illegal activity.
Don't do that. We're not condoning that.
No, we're not.
Not a doctor. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough. Enjoy your Thursday night, everyone. Thursday. Watch some football, maybe. It's the Lions versus Chiefs. I think Lions are at the Chiefs. Did the Chiefs win the Super Bowl? I don't know. I never know who won the Super Bowl anymore. It's all the years. But anyway, someone watch that with me. I'm going to watch a little bit of it. And then maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. Probably not.
Yeah.
No, because we don't have a show tomorrow. Okay.
Have you finished Zelda yet, or is that a weekend?
Finished it last night. It's done.
Oh, you finished? It's done.
I just pushed through. I stopped trying to do the extra quest and all the side things. I just went through and got it.
I'm sure your family is relieved.
Yeah, well, I'm relieved. I felt when I freed the town of Hyrule or whatever at the end, I felt like I had freed myself from a thing that had just pulled me in. It added to the experience of finishing it because I was like so just relieved to be free of the control of Ganon. It was good. It really was good to beat that. And we can talk next week about the hour count on there because I did look at that. And I have some disputes with it. I think it's wrong. I think it's way too high. And I've got some reasons why it has to be too high.
You think so? Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. No one believes it, but
Why would they want it to be high?
I don't know. But somehow the machine gets left on or something in the day, and I think it's logging in 8 and 10 hour days when I'm not there doing it.
Yeah.
Because based on the average, it's way too high. And I played an extreme amount, but it's
just like for some reason the fridge keeps drinking the beer out of my. I swear I'm not drinking that much beer.
Right. This is like that.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Enjoy. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for attending all the shows this week and listening, and we'll see you next week.
Definitely. All right. And yes, Dale Stevens, I'll bring the puppy back on next week. He'll be bigger probably by then, but I'll try. Remind me. All right. Have a good weekend, everyone. See you on Tuesday.